Welcome everyone to Purakaunui. This is Dunedin's hidden gem. It's about 22 kilometers north of the city, but many people don't know about it. Probably most people don't know about it. And yet it's this picturesque, beautiful inlet, right about 2 square kilometers, where the tide comes in and creates almost like a lake. People have holiday homes around the eastern edge here, or there are a few permanent residents as well. And it's been occupied by Pākehā since about 1838, for nearly 200 years. But prior to that, the Maori lived here out on that headland there, which is known as Motutahi Pā site. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And that's really the source of the name Purakaunui. And for many years, while Pākehā have been here, the place was known as simply Purakaunui. And that's what it was called, and the sign coming into this little inlet, until very recently, like the last couple of years, it had Purakaunui spelt like that. But it's now been restored to its most appropriate name, the name that it was actually given by the Maori, which was Purakaunui. And the reason for that is that Rakaunui means stick, and Purakaunui means pile of sticks. And you might think, looking out here, well, where's the pile of sticks? How would you name it? Why would you name it pile of sticks? And the actual truthful explanation is kind of a sinister but very interesting one that goes back to the 18th century, when the Maori were on that headland. They had a beautiful pā site up there called Motutahi Pā. This is Motutahi Pā site, and you can see what an awesome place it is if you had to build a fortress. It's basically surrounded on almost 360 degrees by sea and huge cliffs. There's just the little isthmus that joins this place, which is actually known by the Europeans as Goat Island. So it shows you that it looks like an island, apart from this little bit of peninsula that joins it to the mainland there. And it's the perfect place to be protected, you would think. "250, 300 years ago, the Maori used this site as a wonderful pā. Except they were involved in quite a lot of interfamily and brawls, and they were worse than brawls. They were wars. And the story goes that there were 3 cousins that were involved in a lot of these fights amongst each other. And towards the end of the 18th century, in the 1700s, one of the nephews or the sons, it's not quite clear exactly, was killed in this fighting. And what that meant was that one of the cousins decided to attack the pā as utu. And you would think if you were here, you were completely protected. And it took days and days of fighting, trying to get in. But eventually, they got in. And they killed over 200 people. The only people that escaped were those that somehow, it's hard to believe, jumped off the cliffs and somehow survived the fall. So over 200 bodies. And what they did was they piled the bodies up. And there were so many of these bodies that it looked like a pile of logs or sticks. Hence, Purakaunui. Purakaunui, a pile of sticks or a pile of logs. But they weren't really logs. They were dead bodies. And it's hard to reconcile that macabre, deadly scene with the pristine beauty that exists here now and the tranquility. But it really was quite a warlike and deadly beginnings to what has become known as Purakaunui. So let's go and explore it. Well, I'm sitting here in beautiful Purakaunui, and I have with me a local resident, Wiebke Finkler. And hi Wiebke, and thanks for having us here at your lovely outlook.
Hello.
And can you tell us how long you've been in Purakaunui and why you like it here?
I've been out here for the last 12 years and really love it. Special place. 25-minute drive from Dunedin, but once you get over the hill, you leave everything behind. And been living out here permanently for about 10 years. And yeah, then it just the drive got a bit hard for the kids because there's no public transport out here. So shifted closer to town, but still spending as much time as possible out here.
And what attracted you to the place in the first instance? Like, how did you find out about it?
I made a film about a guitar maker out here many, many years ago. So that's when I fell in love with Purakaunui. And sitting over on the far side, just a very special place to go to, and just paddling across on the weekend in the kayak and going for walks and having coffee and breakfast up there on the far side. And yeah, really this place spoke to me, and had the opportunity to buy a property out here, and so I did.
And what was the film called?
The film was called Singing Wood. So a local guitar maker, Luther Ian Davies, makes guitars called Singing Wood guitars, and he started his own journey out here as a bit of a hermit. So if you have a look online for Singing Wood guitars, he used to be a boat builder and plumber, moved down here from Auckland and came to Purakaunui, and it's kind of place that speaks to people that can be slightly hermit in terms of character, and I consider myself like that. So I think it kind of speaks to a special group of people that, you know, like their space, like their peace and quiet, and are inspired by the setting here. For me, that's a very creative place to tap into.
And for visitors that don't live here, what's the main attraction, do you think, of coming here?
Well, you are in a remote little inlet setting. You've got beautiful inlet behind us here, tidal, so it's always changing. You have a fantastic beach. You've got the Maori, the local path side, just on the other side. And, you know, at low tide you can walk across, you just wade across, or you can paddle across, or you go for a drive and go walking there. Amazing bird life. Purakaunui Eco Sanctuary has really paid off in terms of the conservation that's happening there. So the Eco Sanctuary, which is just up the hill there, has really made an impact in terms of the local bird life that we have here, and a spillover effect, so you can see conservation working out here. We've got a predator trapping program happening out here as well. So community's looking after the place. It's a great community. They take pride in the place and give each other space, but when it matters, we pull together.
Cool. And you say Purakaunui, that's it somewhere over there? Oh, that patch of bush, is it? Up there? Like, where is it?
Yeah,
exactly?
Purakaunui is on the other side of the hill. So up on the hill on the left, you see Mopanui, and on the other side, there's Purakaunui located, and amazing place. And so because of that, we actually see kaka still coming out here now to Purakaunui. Lots of parakeets, the tuis and the bellbirds. The bird life is just absolutely amazing out here.
Cool.
People are drawn to this place. We're a bit off the grid, so there's no sewage out here, which I think is a bit of a deterrent for some people to come out here, but then it attracts people who like that kind of connection to the place, connection to the land. So reliant on rainwater out here, so you've got to manage your water, you've got to look after the place.
And you say bird life. What about mammals? Do you get many mammals here?
We don't want mammals here, not the ones that have been introduced.
What about marine mammals?
So yes, so we do get marine mammals in the inlet here. We do get New Zealand sea lion, fur seals. We've had a whale in here a few years ago, a beaked whale, which is a deep species kind of a whale. And once they come to the surface, typically a sign that they're not doing so well. So this one just was drifted into the inlet. The tide is very strong, the tidal change here. So the whale came into the inlet here, and we tried to refloat it with the help of the Department of Conservation, but unfortunately the whale passed away. But you know, we're sitting out on the deck all night, you could hear the breathing of that whale as it's the next day went for a bit of a kayak and paddle to have a look at the animal. So yeah, but typically sea lions, they like making this place their home, and they are the boss out here, so it's pretty cool to see them in the inlet. Penguins, so yellow-eye, little blue penguins, they're out here. But other than that, we don't really, of course, the bird life, but mammals, we're trying to get rid of the ones that are not native.
Well, that's an admirable thing to be doing. You talked about paddling and kayaking. Is that the principal way that you would enjoy the inlet, because it's obviously not suitable for sailing or even motorcraft, presumably, so
Yeah.
Would it be primarily kayaks and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so lots of people have got their kayaks. You see along the little boat sheds that are kind of dotted around the walking track here. So people have got their kayaks, just little rowboats that they use to get out. So we've got a few characters out here. And you just paddle across. Paddleboarders, stand-up paddleboarding is really popular out here. But people have got even little motorboats where they head out over the bar and do a bit of local fishing, enjoy that. Great surfing spot just around the corner. So, certain times of the day when the conditions are right, we've got all the Dunedin crowds, the surfers coming out.
Cool. So if you go this way, you got the tracks and the kayaking. That way
you've got the ocean. Beautiful ocean and the far side and the surfers, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. We'll go and take a look at it. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
This is beautiful here. What a spot. This is out near the point at Purakaunui. This is the inlet. The tide's going out at the moment, so there's quite a serious amount of water coming back out of it. That's Mopotahi, the par site over there, the beach. Someone, a lone walker. It points to the isolation of the place, that you can have such a beautiful spot and be alone. Magic. And around the point there, that's where the surfing is on a good day. Good day for surfing. I mean, this is a brilliant day. But it's what we seafarers call flat-ass calm. And I say seafarers lightly because I've been sick a number of times on a boat, and even in water like this, I can get sick. I think we'll go down and explore the inner part of the inlet. Have a look at that. Well, here we are in the sort of head of the estuary or the Purakaunui inlet, and you can see it surrounded by little houses, mainly holiday homes. There's about 115 residents that call this their full-time home. But during the summer especially, you get a lot of holiday makers using these properties as rental accommodation, and none more so than the one next to me, which is quite famous. It's called As You Like It, and it sticks out into the water. It's surrounded by water at high tide, and in fact it gets inundated when you get the really king tides, and it's almost certainly going to be a casualty of global warming at some point. But it's got many more years of bringing tourists here, as do many of these other places around here. And it's all these little boat sheds typically contain dinghies and kayaks, canoes. and this place gets covered with people. The sand beds out there are full of cockles. People go cockling. There's a little playground down the end, and it really is a very restful, peaceful place to come for a holiday. And so this is what I call, if you like, the Pakeha side of Purakaunui. The Moputahi was the Maori side out at the pa side, and this really is the Pakeha side. And it was in 1838 that Richard Driver, who was the, I guess you'd call him the Otago harbour pilot, harbour master, came and lived out here and settled here. And he's famous for a number of reasons, not least because he had 15 children by 3 different women. 11 with the last one, I must add. So he was definitely fecund. And as a consequence, because they all had children and grandchildren, there are so many people that are connected with Purakaunui, even though it's such a small community, and trace their ancestry back to this place, which is really quite remarkable. And Richard Driver's got a lot to answer for in that regard, apart from putting it on the map, if you like, for Caucasians, for Pakeha. The bird life's amazing. There's a white-fronted heron out there, mallard ducks here. You get kingfishers flying down. And people have just a fantastic time here. And yet, it's not known by most people, either in Dunedin or further afield. Just needs a really good travel writer to set this place on a map in the way that Richard Driver wasn't quite able to.